Oke, baik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, perkenalkan nama saya Olivia Waidona. Saya merupakan salah satu interviewer LPDP pada seleksi hari ini. Saat ini saya berhadapan dengan Bapak Aldi Ripaldi. Nama panggilannya Aldi. Oke, dengan tujuan universitasnya ini ada di Master Food Technology Wageningen University Belanda, lalu ada Master of Food Technology Leuven Belgia, lalu selanjutnya ada Food Technology and Nutrition Lund University Swedia. Baik, perkenalan dari saya selesai. Silakan Mas Aldi untuk memperkenalkan dirinya secara singkat. Silakan.
Baik, Bu Olivia, terima kasih untuk kesempatannya. Perkenalkan, Bu, nama saya Aldi Ripaldi. Ibu bisa panggil saya Aldi. Sekarang saya bekerja sebagai asisten dosen di Universitas Gadjah Mada. Sebelumnya, saya memiliki pengalaman bekerja sebagai production supervisor dan quality control staff selama 2 tahun di industri pangan. Saya juga merupakan alumni dari S1 Teknologi Pangan dan Hasil Pertanian UGM tahun 2020. Selama masa kuliah, saya aktif menjadi tutor untuk mempersiapkan ujian dan asisten dosen untuk mempersiapkan praktikum. Di tahun 2020, saya terpilih melaksanakan riset di Konkan University Thailand terkait protein untuk menunjang kesehatan manusia. Pengalaman tersebut memotivasi saya untuk melanjutkan studi dan riset terkait protein untuk mengganti kebutuhan daging impor di Indonesia dengan daging tiruan atau meat analog. Oleh karena itu, saya membutuhkan studi lebih lanjut di Master of Food Technology Wageningen University. Terima kasih, Bu.
Oke, baik. Selanjutnya pertanyaan saya, Mas. Kenapa harus Wageningen University ya, Mas?
Baik, ada beberapa alasan, Bu, saya memilih Wageningen University. Pertama, program teknologi pangan ini menawarkan spesialisasi yang disebut dengan Product Design and Ingredient Functionality, di mana spesialisasi ini bisa membantu saya untuk mencapai tujuan saya mengganti daging impor di Indonesia dengan daging tiruan. Kemudian, di Wageningen ini juga saya menemukan adanya seorang ahli meat analog bernama Prof. H.C. van der Voort, di mana hasil risetnya ini telah berhasil diterjemahkan ke dalam sebuah industri meat analog bernama Rival Food di Netherlands. Dan saya terinspirasi dari hal ini untuk melakukan hal yang sama nantinya di Indonesia. Selain itu juga teknologi yang dikembangkan oleh Wageningen University ini bisa menghasilkan struktur meat analog yang disukai oleh masyarakat. Hal tersebut terbukti dari riset yang dilakukan oleh Wageningen. Dan teknologi ini ternyata awalnya berasal dari teknologi yang sama di Indonesia, yaitu ekstrusi. Sehingga hal ini bisa diimplementasikan ketika nanti saya lulus.
Oke, karena Anda ini memilih untuk berkuliah di luar negeri, izinkan saya untuk selanjutnya eh, melanjutkan dengan berbahasa Inggris ya, Mas.
Baik,
Okay. My next question is, why did you interested on studying abroad? Is there no subject in here that you can focus or pursue or your master degree in Indonesia?
All right. So far, I haven't found any specialization about meat analog in Indonesia. That's why I chose to decide studying in Wageningen University. Beside of that, the technology in Indonesia is called extrusion, is low yield technology because the structure of the final product is not suitable to fit with society. So I think I need to develop any technology that can produce suitable meat analog, which is Sersal technology that developed from Wageningen University.
Okay. I interested on that you are studying next. Uh, what's the difference between the research that you have searched now rather than any of the research before?
I'm sorry, are you asking about the research I did now or in my bachelor degree?
Yeah, of course. What's the difference between your research and the other research that in the food technology?
All right, so what I did in my bachelor degree, I measured the protease activity, the enzyme to convert protein into amino acid. And when I was in bachelor degree, the activity of this enzyme is really small. So I can conclude that uh, there's no suggestion for production of fermented milk to be enlarged in scale production because the small quantity of protein. But now I prefer to do research about meat analog because Indonesia needs solution to end up the problem of imported meat in Indonesia. And I think this research can solve the problem in Indonesia about meat analog.
Okay, my next question is there any environmental impact about the meat analog?
All right. Of course, there is some environmental impact from the meat analog. If we can see that if we use a meat analog, let's say we can use a peanuts. So for peanuts, we just need to plant it for 100 days. But when we use animal from cows, we need to wait until the cows reach the 3 years old. So when we use some energy like water, of course, we need a lower water for plants, but for animals, we need more water. So it can be more environmentally friendly for use plant-based proteins.
Okay, so is there any newest approach about that technology?
All right, for the newest approach for the sear technology, well, when we compare it to extrusion, overall it's same, but the system of its working it's different. For the extrusion, it it occurs in a continuous system, but when we use sear technology, we use this in a batch system, so it can allow us to make to control everything in sear technology, but for in the extrusion, it's really hard.
Okay, so my next question is, if you are studying abroad next in your study, how do you face the culture shock that will happen to you at your study?
All right. Uh, Actually, I've been to Thailand before, and of course, the things that I will do in my first approachment, I will ask seniors who already stayed at that area for a longer time. So I will ask about them. And beside of that, I found in Wageningen University there is a pengajian Wageningen. So I think it can be impactful for me to maintain my core value.
Okay, my next question is, okay, this is more personal. So how do you look into yourself?
Well, I think I'm diligent person. I can prepare everything before the deadline because I have a habit to finish everything gradually instead of finishing abruptly. And I already use Google Calendar to block my time, and then I will block some time for me to do relaxation. And I think it's really beneficial for me to keep my working balance can be healthy. And beside of that, um, I think um, I think I'm a creative person as well because I always find solution. For example, I have a contribution to be uh, to engage in program praktisi mengajar. I find some relation in LinkedIn and I ask them how they can graduate, how they can be accepted in program praktisi mengajar, and I ask about their activities so I can imitate what they did.
Okay, so my next question is, what it is about your job, right? What difficulties did you encounter at your last job?
All right. So when I was working in industry, at the time I was working with older person than me. So at the time I need to adapt with them. And of course, as a leader of them, I always approach them one by one because I need to give a special treatment. For example, when I give an instruction to someone who is stubborn, I will give the instruction more detailed so he cannot complain about it later. So I already explained it. But when I give an instruction to people who already really understandable about my instruction, I just give it in one. So I think when I face situation like this, I will use my personal approachment to know the characteristic of my subordinates.
Okay, my next question is, so how do you complete your studies on time with the weakness that you have?
All right. Because of my weakness, sometimes I can mispronounce something. All right. For when I have an task to do presentation, I will make a script to deliver a speech, and I will highlight some words contain F, V, and Z, so I can make it seriously, so it doesn't invite a loudness from participants. And beside of that, when I can complete my study on time, I sometimes I speak roughly to my friends, so I think I need to lower my speed. And of course, when I was working in college or work in working place, I always ask the understanding of my audience. So I think it can help me to finish my study on time.
Okay. So my next question is, you mentioned before that you will become a lecturer one day after your study, right?
Yes.
So, did you have any role model before?
All right. Honestly, I have a role model. She is my supervisor right now. I help her to publish a journal about complementary food, and I'm really lucky to work with her because she delivers lessons understandably, and I want to imitate how she did it when I was in college. And I already discussed about my plan to be a lecturer, and she is really she supports me to achieve my goal.
Okay. So my next question is, this is more personal. So I see in your CV from your previous work experience, I believe your job offers a higher salary than being a lecturer. So why are you interested in becoming a lecturer?
All right, thank you for the question. First of all, actually, I have a dream since I was in bachelor. I want to be a lecturer, and I think I need to get some exposure to become a lecturer, and one of them is being a lecturer assistant because I want to have a publication that can help me to get this job. Beside of that, I think two years in working place is enough to implement what I knew about food technology, and I already got some saving for that to start my journey to get scholarship.
Okay. I see in your CV also your lack of what is it called? Paper. So how do you deal with it?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it again,
Okay,
please?
sorry. As I see your previous research, you are studying about the Streptococcus thermophilus. So what kind of approach that you study in here?
All right. So when I was in Thailand before, I I measure the protease activity of that bacteria, and for this activity, I grew this bacteria in fermented milk, and I collect some enzyme from this bacteria, and I measure it with some reagents, and then I estimate the concentration of protein by using spectrophotometer, and it's estimated about the concentration of protein by passing some lights to the solution. And luckily, and unfortunately, the activity of this bacteria to convert protein to amino acid is really small. So there is a recommendation for producer of fermented milk to not enlarge the production, use one bacteria.
Okay. So I see in your essay that you are studying about the substitution of the meat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at your CV, you previously researching about bacteria. So why are you searching about the meat substitution right now? Why don't you continue your bacteria research?
All right. So from the previous research, actually, it's about bacteria in fermented milk. And we can see that fermented milk and meat substitution is really different. But overall, those foods have one similarity, which is protein, because I already do something about protein in my college. I think I can master it. And I think Indonesia needs more about meat substitution because the imported meat number in Indonesia always rises from year to year. In 2021, the data from BPS showed that Indonesia imported about 300 tons. And then in 2022, the number rises more and more until 200%. And if we don't address this issue, I think Indonesia can be dangerous to fulfill the protein in Indonesia. So I think I need to address this issue by providing meat analog.
Okay. So my next question is, after you graduate at Wageningen University, do you think Indonesia is ready to support you when you return due to lack of facilities and funding in an instance?
All right. Honestly, I already got support from Hijau Iteri. This is the best food startup in Bandung in 2021. They produce meat analog, and I think um, this company can help me to produce meat analog and can share to society about benefits of meat analog. And luckily, I already get permission from the owner to do this.
Okay. So my next question is, how about have you contacted your supervisor yet at Wageningen University?
Okay, thank you for the question. I've already contacted him, and luckily I got a positive response from him. He was interested with my interest, and he suggested to discuss more because we will meet in the first course at Wageningen, and he already welcomed me to his group, food structuring group, which focuses on meat analog. So I think I can use this opportunity to provide meat analog in Indonesia.
Okay. So, what if you are offered a job there by your supervisor at the Wageningen University? Will you accept it?
All right. Honestly, I will very happy about this offer, but I need to refuse this offer because I need to realize that I come to Wageningen because of Indonesia. So I need to go back to Indonesia after graduating from Wageningen. And of course, beside of that, I have a family in Indonesia that I need to help. And I believe that helping them can make me be more impactful because I want to be a good kid, a good kid for them. And beside of that, I believe that when I need to go back to Indonesia because I've already agreement with Hijau Iteri, so I need to be professional.
Okay. So my next question is, there will be so many lecture in Indonesia. So, what kind of lecturer you become after you graduate at Wageningen University?
All right. I've already thought about this before, and I already asked some lecturers that I knew. And I think students these days need more actions. For example, because I will do collaboration with Hijau Iteri and I will produce mid analog prototype so I can show them, I can inspire them to make the same mid analog but in other potential plant ingredients. So I think with this prototype, I think it can be impactful to encourage them to improve other mid analog. And beside of that, as a lecturer, I need to mention some critical parameters that they need to achieve so they can feel satisfied about their studies.
Okay. So this is my last question. If in the second wave of LPDP subtension test you did not pass, what's your next plan?
All right. If I didn't get this scholarship again, I will do the same thing like today because I'm working as a lecturer assistant. I will to publish my journal with Dr. Dwi Larasatino Febri to publish complementary food. And then, of course, I need to evaluate what I did from the first batch until now. I can evaluate it and I can make it better for the next batch. Of course, for the next term, I will reapply again, like now.
Okay. So is there any last statement that you will mention for us as an LPDP interviewer?
All right, thanks for the opportunity. Since I decided to choose food technology in my life, I have a dream to be a lecturer and an expert of food technology. And I believe this dream is aligned with the aim of Indonesia in 2045 to abolish imported meat number in Indonesia. And I can achieve it by obtaining master degree at Wageningen University. And I believe when I can graduate from Wageningen University, I can be a competent lecturer and expert to address the issue of imported meat in Indonesia by providing suitable meat analog. And of course, to do this, I really need support from LPDP. Thank you so much.
Okay. Jadi